In this bulletin, COVID cases soar in the Central Division. Health Ministry considers support from Australia. And construction industry seeing a downturn. Good afternoon. The Health Ministry has recorded 89 new COVID-19 cases yesterday following another 2,813 tests. 2 cases are from Nosori, 1 is from Samambula and 1 from Sakotha. 3 more cases are primary contacts of an earlier case, and relevant contact tracing teams are investigating to determine their link to a cluster. 1 patient admitted at the intensive care unit at the CWM hospital in Suva with severe illness has died. She tested positive for COVID-19 during her admission, but the doctors who treated her have ruled out COVID-19 as the cause of death. 82 cases are linked to the existing clusters. PS Dr. James Fong says most of these cases are contacts of cases they found and from clusters they know about. He adds this is useful for containment purposes as it lets the ministry know where to target lockdowns.
If we look inside the numbers, we can give ourselves a much clearer idea of exactly what is happening. When we do, we see other factors that are a cause for some optimism over the long term.
Fiji has not seen an increase in severe cases and deaths corresponding to a spike in cases. However, it remains a possibility. Head of Health Protection Dr. Alisha Sahukan says the pandemic has affected the CWM's acute medical ward, which resulted in the death of 5 individuals. The medical ward is where the sickest are managed. Dr. Sahukan says 5 deceased persons were admitted for severe illnesses at CWM and 1 patient from Lautoka Hospital died earlier.
So we're now at about 60 cases per day, which is, if you're looking at our population, that's about 68 per million population, which is a high number. To put that in context, neither Australia nor New Zealand got to this level of cases per day.
The Health Ministry is now considering support from Australia to prepare a contingency plan. PS for Health Dr. James Fong says while increasing cases is expected, it is a cause for much concern. The ministry is looking to our Vale partners for help. Fijians are being warned to continue to follow COVID-safe protocols as we reach a new height in infections.
I am looking at also getting help from our partners in Australia to come and help us develop some of contingency plans that are required in case we persistently get up to 200. So I'm already planning for that phase of in case we get up to 200.
Meanwhile, the Health Ministry is undertaking an extensive discussion with the Ministry of Transport on how to facilitate the travel of many Fijians stuck in Viti Levu. Dr. James Fong says in many instances, children have not seen their parents with wives and husbands separated. The 2 ministries will work together on how they can assist Fijians who wish to reunite with their family outside of Viti Levu.
They want to go back home. I'm sure we all understand that. The ministry with MCTTT, Ministry of Maritime and Rural Affairs, and Ministry of Itauke Affairs have put together a number of protocols to ensure that protocols of safe travel, including a safe 14 days of quarantine, are fully adhered to.
The Construction Industry Council is again starting to experience a downturn with the second wave of the pandemic in our midst. Council President Gordon Jenkins says a few construction companies have applied for a license at the Ministry of Commerce and Trade to continue operating. Jenkins, however, says they are anticipating the effects of the second wave on the industry to be more severe over the next few months. He adds most projects have been suspended and a good number of raw materials running out, which has affected the industry.
But the industry is still in a sleeping mode, as you might say. So we would hope things improve later on in the week or within the next week or so. As far as we're concerned, there have been great losses because there's been no activity.
Close proximity of households in settlements across the country is part of the reason why Fiji is recording high COVID cases daily. Adhering to the COVID protocols in place will help safeguard families in these communities. Vunimoli and Vunichina settlement in Tavirua are taking responsibility to protect themselves from COVID-19. More than 23 households live in this area.
As you can see, we have a tent here where we monitor people's movement in and out of our settlement. We take the details and keep it for our record.
Up ahead, Chuta Wainingolo signs for Toulon. Welcome back. Fiji Sevens rep Chuta Wainingolo has signed for French top 14 club Toulon for the next 3 years. The 22-year-old winger will take up the void left by Olympian Masivesi Ndakuwanga, who joins Montpellier next season. Wainingolo is currently in Australia with the national team preparing for the Oceania Sevens next week. The former Ratukandavulevu school student was part of the Fijian draw team from 2018 to 2019 and joined the Gareth Baber coached side last year. Czech Republic's Patrick Schick created history in European Championships by scoring the longest distance goal as his side walked away with a 2-0 win over Scotland this morning. Czech Republic was leading 1-0 in the second half, but it was Schick's unbelievable halfway line goal scored from 49.7 yards that was the highlight of the game. Slovakia stunned 10-man Poland to win 2-1 in their opening game of Euro 2020. Both teams were locked at 1-1 in the second spell, but it was the goal from Milan Skriniar that gave Slovakia the win. Meanwhile, Sweden held Spain to a 0-0 draw earlier today. A deep low-pressure system to the far southwest of Fiji continues to generate and direct moderate to damaging heavy southerly swells over Fiji waters and is expected to ease from Wednesday. That's FBC News Now. Join us for our 1-hour major bulletin at 7 p.m. And be sure to download the FBC app to access the latest in news, sports, and live radio broadcasts from any of our 6 FBC radio stations. Stay safe and good afternoon.